Have you ever wondered if the products in your life are safe? No one wants to be sleeping on a mattress with dangerous fumes. No one wants to be poisoned by their orange juice or lose an eye in a toaster explosion. But new products sometimes have unintended consequences. That's the nature of innovation. And that's why this issue of product safety will always be deeply relevant to you and everyone you know. Take the Chevy Corvair. This car was designed back in 1960 by General Motors, and it had a new type of suspension system. The company's engineers warned that the car was prone to rollovers. They recommended that an anti-sway bar be installed as standard equipment on the car. Instead, GM management decided that drivers could prevent rollovers themselves, either by adjusting the tire pressure or by purchasing the anti-sway bar as an aftermarket option. In the end, hundreds of people died in Corvair rollovers, and GM was sued dozens of times. Liberals, radicals, and conservatives absolutely agree that products can cause harm, and they share the same goal of having the protection that people want, but they strongly disagree on how to achieve that end. That's what all the fights are about when it comes to product safety. It's time to hear the voices.
So about the Chevy Corvair. Look, sometimes firms don't know there's a problem with their products and people accidentally get hurt. But in this case, GM did know about the problem with rollovers, and it deliberately chose not to install the anti-sway bar as standard equipment. We could have prevented these terrible tragedies and saved the lives of hundreds of people with sensible safety standards and stronger government oversight. You can trust that it's safe to use your car, your toothpaste, and other goods and services in your life. Why? Because government experts in fair market capitalism create sensible safety standards and government agencies diligently enforce them. We don't have to wait for catastrophes to happen to get safer choices in the store. We're fortunate to have a government with resources and reach to do this work for us. So I have no problem paying a little bit more in taxes and slightly higher prices to have products that aren't likely to poison, maim, or kill me, or my loved ones, or anyone else. The public-private partnership in fair market capitalism creates more safety in our products so we can live happier and healthier lives. You radicals once again have it all wrong. We agree that government plays a role in making sure that products won't harm us, but you want to do it by committee. Your product safety councils are made up of amateurs, not impartial experts, and those stakeholders are the ones who decide what firms can produce and how they can produce it. Radicals create a nightmare scenario of overcaution. Toasters might explode. We better learn to heat our bread over sticks over the flame. Yes, the handful of products that make it through the maze of hazard assessment protocols might end up being safer, but they won't be anything we actually want. So get ready for shelves full of dull wooden toys. The real danger here is democratic socialism because it rejects capitalism, which is the most wealth-generating economic system ever created. You conservatives say the free market naturally brings us safer products, but we hear in the news every day about products that harm us and kill people. Maybe in the long run, the market might bring us safer products, but in the meantime, people get poisoned, lose limbs, and die of cancer. Some companies know about possible dangers from their products, but they deliberately withhold that information from consumers because they want to make the sale. Free market capitalism doesn't hold firms accountable to give full disclosures about potential harm, so more people end up getting hurt. It's not worth saving a few bucks to buy cheaper products when it could cause injuries, illness, and death. Conservatives are in denial about the true price we pay for these cheaper products. Consider the hospital bills, the missed work, and the funeral costs when products kill us. Here's what we should do to ensure that we have the protection that people want. strengthen product safety regulations, and expand government agencies. It's impossible for individuals to assess and monitor the safety of every product we use, but the government can do it for us. We each pay a few tax dollars for this life-saving service. It's a great deal. And fair market capitalism doesn't just protect consumers, it also protects firms. Consumer protection agencies create safety standards that all firms must follow. That means that no one suffers from unfair competition. Those standards help prevent design flaws, faulty assembly, and tainted inputs. When products are safer, firms don't get sued, so they don't lose money or their good reputations. With the public-private partnership, businesses thrive and consumers stay safe. So, about the Chevy Corvair. Can you imagine how GM's managers and engineers must have felt when they heard about the first rollover that killed someone? Of course they didn't want their cars to cause harm, but they had no choice. GM was pressured to cheap out and make an extra penny of profit by not making the anti-sway bar standard equipment. It was capitalism that created this tragedy. We all want to trust that the products we use won't harm us, but the only way to really be sure that firms are committed to making us the safest possible products is by using participatory governance in democratic socialism. Firms are pressured to do the right thing because even though profit is important to businesses, it's never more important than people's well-being. We don't have to worry that our phone is giving us a brain tumor, or passenger airbags might not deploy in an accident, or ice cream contains toxic ingredients. We all want to sleep peacefully at night knowing the products we use and make won't end in tragedy. That's what we get in an economic system that values people over profits. You conservatives say the problem of unsafe products takes care of itself if we do nothing. But letting firms self-regulate is like leaving the fox in charge of the hen house. In free market capitalism, it's inevitable that companies cheap out and cut corners on safety. Firms have to boost their bottom lines or their competitors will put them out of business. So they do the math and conclude that harming their customers is more profitable than making their products safe, even after factoring in the high cost of lawsuits. Conservatives say the free market gives us what we want. But the last time I checked, no one wants toys coated in lead paint or tablets that overheat and cause fires. The free market solution is deadly. How many have to lose their lives before problems are corrected? When it's in our power to prevent tragedies, we absolutely should. And liberals, your regulations and oversight will never fix the problem of unsafe products because fair market capitalism has a fatal flaw: top-down governance. Politicians aren't held accountable to their constituents. They're corrupted by big campaign contributions. Industries hire lobbyists to make sure the laws are written in their favor so they can make more profit at the expense of our safety. A medication is rushed to market. An insecticide is approved with little testing, and people get hurt. Injuries that could be avoided happen every day because the alphabet soup of consumer protection agencies can't solve the problem of unsafe products. Government acts like a school disciplinarian. It gives corporations detention and a slap on the wrist. But those firms are perfectly willing to risk a fine if it's profitable to make something that isn't safe. That's business as usual in the liberal world. Here's what we should do to ensure that we have the protection that people want. Use product safety councils. When all stakeholders have a voice, we get the best outcomes. First, elected officials bring together people who have the most knowledge and experience. Then representatives from industry, consumer groups, firms, and safety specialists work together to come up with product safety regulations, like hazard assessment protocols. So when a new product is designed and manufactured, teams of experts make sure that there are no problems that might cause harm. In this way, firms have a clear pathway to bring safe products to the market. This is good for companies and consumers. In democratic socialism, we get the safety we want and businesses get the support they need. So about the Chevy Corvair. Whenever we buy something, of course we do the research. GM wasn't trying to hide anything from consumers. People shopping for a Corvair were told that if they had concerns about rollovers, they could either adjust the tire pressure or buy the aftermarket part. GM respected its customers and let them weigh the risks and options and make their own decisions. Today, it's easier than ever to find reviews on products. Countless websites are dedicated to providing information to help us make the best decisions for ourselves. If a good or service doesn't have the level of safety we want, naturally we won't choose to buy it. That sends a signal to firms. They're in business to make a profit. So when consumers stop buying their product, firms become highly motivated to make the product safer, or they switch to producing something else. Why? Because if they keep making products that no one wants, they'll go out of business, and that's not going to happen. The beauty of free market capitalism is that consumers and firms act in their own self-interest, and the problem of unsafe products fixes itself. You liberals believe the FDA, OSHA, and all your other government agencies keep us safe, but they do the exact opposite. When people are forced to wear seatbelts, they feel invulnerable, so they drive faster and then have more accidents. When we rely on the government to tell us it's safe to cross the street, we learn not to look both ways, and we get hit by a bus. Liberal regulations create a false sense of security, plus the tangle of government red tape limits innovation. It keeps useful products from reaching the marketplace because it takes ages to navigate the maze of safety regulations. In fair market capitalism, if I'm dying and there's an experimental drug that might save me, I'm not even allowed to try it. And if this isn't bad enough, we pay higher taxes and skyrocketing prices for this ridiculous nanny state. Radicals, invention requires hard work and risk-taking, but in democratic socialism, you create obstacles to both. First, you kill the incentive to work hard by getting rid of the profit motive. Then you demotivate those few individuals who are still willing to be entrepreneurs. They run into the radical brick wall of participatory governance. So, when a new folding chair is invented, a stakeholder worries about the possibility of fingers getting pinched, and the council comes up with a slew of new hazard assessment protocols. Any remaining entrepreneurs just give up and go home. The fact is, price signals are the most efficient and effective product safety councils because every consumer is a stakeholder. We all express our needs and concerns about the level of safety we want by voting with our wallets. We don't need time-wasting, soul-crushing committee meetings where nothing is decided so nothing gets made. Here's what we should do to ensure that we have the protection that people want. Use unfettered price signals. We let consumer demand determine the safety of goods and services. The consumer is sovereign. If we want more details about a product, a market for independent, unbiased product safety information emerges. Suppliers also make the information widely available because it improves their competitiveness, and firms voluntarily invest in rigorous testing to ensure that their products are safer because they follow the profit motive. Safer products are good for business. By leaving the market alone, society automatically ends up with the level of product safety that people want. It's that simple. We get innovative goods and services cheaper, faster, and safer in free market capitalism.
You've just heard the arguments about product safety from 3 perspectives. They share the same goal of having the protection that people want, but they have very different ways of achieving it. Now, it's time for you to be part of the conversation.